Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is the Foil Boat Pork Butt. That's right, today we are going to cook up a Boston butt pork shoulder using the foil boat method. Now the foil boat method has become one of my favorite ways to cook a brisket, and the reason is you seem to get the best results out of it. You've got the foil that's just wrapped around the bottom so that the top's still open, you get great rendering, great bark, but you still collect all those juices, and in the case of the brisket, you're braising that leaner meat on the bottom. Now, they're very different pieces of meat, the pork butt and the brisket, but we cook them in a very similar manner, so there's no reason why we can't apply what we do with the foil boat to the pork butt. So let's go ahead and get this thing trimmed up. We are working with a Creekstone Farms Duroc pork butt today. We got the fat cap side here, which we're gonna leave most of that on. Might just take a little off, but we're gonna leave a good amount of fat on that fat cap. Most of the trimming that we need to do, we're gonna trim out all of this stringy material from inside this crevice. As we say, none of this is very pleasant to chew on later, so we might as well get rid of it now. So by getting all of this out of the way, not only do we get rid of that kind of unpleasant chewy material, any of this silver skin that we see, but we're also exposing all of that meat, which we can then get lots of seasoning on. So we kind of get that crevice cleaned up now. On the surface, we're just looking to see if there's anything left behind, any cartilage or anything like that, or any large chunks of hard fat. Those can come off. But we certainly have plenty of fat on the fat cap side and running throughout the muscles here. So that is all trimmed up. We're gonna get it into the prep tub to get it seasoned. We're gonna hit the butt with just a little bit of oil for binder. And then we got two rubs that we're gonna put on our pork butt today. The first is the finer of the two, and that is our Plowboy's Yardbird rub, which a lot of you guys know is one of our go-tos, just all around great barbecue rub. Great red color to it. A bit salty, a touch sweet, but not too much of anything really, just really well balanced. So that's gonna be our base layer. And then our second rub we're gonna use today, it's a pretty interesting one. It's the Cubano from Lane's. So it's got a lot of citrus going on. I mean, a lot of the flavors you'd find in your Cuban pork, which happens to pair pretty well with barbecue. You'll also notice the more coarse consistency, a nice little bit of variation for that surface texture. Smelling the garlic big time, and it's got some savory herbs in it too, like dill and coriander. All right, so once we've got good coverage on here, we just want to make sure that it's kind of attached to the meat. Should look a little bit wet on the surface before you put it onto the smoker. So today we're cooking on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. In fact, I've been smoking on the 640 all night long because last night before I went to bed, I put an identical pork butt onto the grill at 190 degrees about 10 p.m. and let it smoke overnight for 10 hours. And this has really become one of my go-to ways to handle these larger cuts of meat. I love that I can put this on at a low enough temperature that I know I'm not gonna overcook it overnight, but while I'm warm in bed, sleeping, I know that the meat's soaking up all of that smoke and forming a bark. So we're gonna jump ahead in time. I'm gonna put our raw butt onto a different grill and show you what that pork butt's gonna look like 10 hours from when you started, when you wake up in the morning. So as you can see, we've got some really nice color. Already getting some rendering on that fat cap, which is up to the top of the roast right now, simply because I didn't want to lose it on the grate. If I was cooking it down on the main cooking grate, I'd probably go ahead and flip this over so we can make sure we had that thermal barrier. But for what we're doing today, cooking here on the top, we don't really need to do that. We'll go ahead and turn this grill up to 275 now. All right, so we're going right onto a couple sheets of foil. Now you guys noticed that we didn't inject this earlier, and part of the reason why is I'm gonna go ahead and add some liquid right now, knowing that in the end we're gonna shred all this up, and all of the liquid that goes in now is just gonna work its way back into the meat, just like if we had injected it. So for our braise, I'm gonna do 6 tablespoons of pineapple juice. I'm gonna cut that with some vegetable stock just so we don't have too much sugar going on, and then a tablespoon of tamari soy sauce. And then we'll add all of that braised liquid to our foil and tighten up. So we'll keep that boat tight to the butt, leaving the top exposed. And this is ready to go right back onto the grill. So internally right now we're at about 145, 150. I'm gonna insert our probe into this thickest part of the roast, away from that bone so I don't hit that bone. And then we'll just let this smoke away until we've gotten all the way up past 200. The pork butt's been in the foil boat for 4.5 hours now, and our temp is creeping right up on 200 degrees. So I just wanna get in there, dig around, take a look, and see what's happening. Look at that. Look how squishy that is right there next to the money muscle. We're simmering away. That bottom part's definitely getting braised a bit. Let's check out this bone here. Yeah, the blade bone's typically a pretty good indicator of like how done it is. I'm losing a little juice. And it's not pulling out just yet, which means we need a little bit more time. But for sure, some of that is ready to shred. We're getting close though. The pork butt's now been in the boat for a total of 6 hours, and it's looking really good. So we are definitely past 200 now. God, that bark looks so good. And let's see if we can get into this blade bone now. Yeah, blade bone says pork butt's done. One of the great things about pulled pork is this really doesn't need any rest time, because any area that might be a little bit drier than another right now is about to get soaked in all this juice that's in the bottom of this pan. My goodness. There's that money muscle. Some of the most tender pork on there. And this stuff, man, that's not gonna take much. But check out that smoke ring right there. I mean, that's a good like 3/8 of an inch of smoke. It certainly had plenty of time on the pellet grill to soak up a lot of smoke flavor. But it takes no time at all to break this down now. We're just gonna toss that and all of those juices that have been hanging out in the boat. All right, let's get a taste. Oh my. That is some smoky, delicious pork. Got a little bit of that fat cap too. It's so salty. It just like renders into this, I don't know, tacky coating on your tongue. By using that foil built method and leaving the top open, we get so much more bark. And of course, it was on the smoker for a long time. And maybe that's your trade-off. If you're worried about the time, I will say most of it happened while I was asleep. So got up this morning, 4:30 now. It's definitely done in time for dinner. I think it's a pretty good plan. I think it turned out really nice. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.